Welcome back to Suggestions Box for Overwatch, where you guys leave suggestions to what you would like to see modified or changed into the game, whether it's perk related, which seems to be the hot topic right now, but it could be anything, so leave yours in the comments. First one of the week is in part for Lifeweaver, because he has been the saddest performer in terms of win rate on the official stats website for this current season. So what suggestions do we have for Lifeweaver here? So his perks are what hold him back, so these are the changes I would make to help his design. First one, minor perks. Lifeweaving can stay, and Cleansing Grip has to go. Move Super Bloom here. Okay, so that's the major perk. So it gives him the choice between healing or damage to discourage a heal bot playstyle. Now, so it's Lifeweaving plus Super Bloom, so you're gonna have an empty slot in major, right? So the first one will be Agility Dash. Gain an extra dash with reduced healing. So you have 2 dashes on Lifeweaver. I think he's already slippery enough, but damn, okay. And the other major perk will be Carnivorous, where the pedal platform now acts as a trap that can root enemies momentarily instead of raising players. But then how do you get them to step on it when that thing is a ginormous pink thing? Well, I guess if you put it at a choke, they're forced to break it, and it has a lot of HP. I'm not a big fan of adding an extra dash because I think his survivability is already very good, and like I feel like most people would not take that because he's already very hard to kill with the platform going up in the sky. But I think the Carnivorous might be the coolest suggestion I've seen so far. Now, some people may not really like offensive-oriented support perks, but it is a choice between the offensive perk of Carnivorous versus Agility Dash. The more I think about it, I actually think this is kind of good. You know, I like it. I approve. What do you guys think? I like it. We could try with this. Okay, next. What about a slight rework to Roadhog, where when he tries to heal and can't, either because of anti-heal or he doesn't have any resource left, he spends 4 bullets of his weapon, if there are enough bullets, to clear the anti-heal or to gain 40 resource back, depending on the case. Obviously, this change would come with a nerf to his healing and possibly a nerf to his reload speed. The idea is to create a window of vulnerability that is more nuanced than a simple cooldown on breather, while also giving Hog more tools to deal with his counters. Or maybe we can just turn this idea into a perk. I think Roadhog doesn't actually have as much issue surviving as one may think. I think if you play him not in a main tank style, if you like front face tank everything, then yeah, you're probably gonna die regardless of what happens with the anti-heal. But if you play him as like an annoying show up and hook, like that in part is due to his off-tank style design, and which is why like he's never really worked very well as a main tank. You have to play him unconventionally. Even if you have this as his as part of his kit, he's still going to be problematic, where he's either too good or not, or just unplayable. I've always felt it's never too much about his survivability. It's always more about his lethality. He's either he kills you in the one shot or he doesn't with the hook combo. If he doesn't, he's kind of just ass. He just sits there and just soaks damage and does nothing. Versus when you give him like certain levels of lethality, then he becomes a problem again. So I don't know. This rework would just be another, like the 10th rework he'll have, and they're gonna have to eventually do it again. All right, for Wuyang, I believe his Guardian Wave should cleanse fire on allies. Of course, it could be balanced in a way where it wouldn't be too OP. Making it into a perk wouldn't be a bad idea. So specifically, an interaction against burning effects of Ash's Dynamite, and I guess maybe Torbjorn's Molten Core, Mauga's Incendiary Grenade. Listen, I've always thought about the idea of having elements in certain, you know, like water cleanses fire and stuff, but if you're gonna do it for Wuyang, you have to do it for everybody. Give everybody that whole, you know, Pokemon type treatment. And that could be an idea for like a major year revamp where everybody gets a slight element, so you get some small elemental effects with interactions. I don't know, someone like Zenyatta's kick, Zenyatta gives psychic fighting vibes, right? At least to me, for the dual typing. So specifically, his kick would do more against normal type Pokemon or heroes. So who would be normal, like dual type? I don't know, like Winston could be like electric normal, right? So if Winston dives a Zen and Zen decides to kick him, the kick can do like a slightly buff damage. Now this may complicate things a little bit, but I think the idea is cool. I'm not sure how practical it would be. So if your Wuyang specific example is like, if you do this, it feels kind of strange to have an exclusive interaction with that. Water cleanses fire, but what about everything else that has a very distinct element? Winston Tesla Cannon can't do 0 damage to like Venture because Venture is ground, but like you could play around with something like that. It's do it for none or do it for all is my takeaway point. So for now, I don't think Guardian Wave should cleanse fire specifically. Either cleanse fire, don't cleanse fire, or cleanse everything. Acts as a cleanse like Kiriko Suzu, but we obviously know how that's going to work out. Not good. Here's a suggestion. Mystery Hero should preserve your entire ult charge when you die and change to another hero. Every other match feels like one team dominates the other because of the snowball effect. And it's extremely unfair that the losing team can't even use ultimates from it resetting every single time they die, since they're forced into playing a new hero. So I've actually tested this. There is a custom mystery heroes and mystery modifiers, mystery everything workshop mode created by Cactus Puppy, a valuable member of our community. And I've tried that and I'm a big fan of it. I actually think this is a great suggestion into the game. And it's really fun and it's really doable because every hero has a certain amount of ultimate charge they need to use it. But even if you say, let's say you die at 50% ult on Reaper and then you spawn as Tracer, it may come back as 65% as Tracer because her rate of building is slower, but it's all relatively the same. If Reaper's total ult charge is 3,000 points and he's at 1,500, Tracer might be like 1,500, but her total required for her pulse bomb is like 2,700. So like the percentage you might see in the center may come back differently, but it should be relatively the same. And you charge ultimate the same for all heroes. Like 1 point of damage equals 1 point of charge, except when you hit tanks, which is reduced by 25%. But that's the nitty gritty stuff. But in any case, the takeaway point is that this can work and I'm a big fan of it and I've tried it and I think this would be a great addition to Mystery Heroes. Next suggestion for the upcoming winter event is that they add the Blizzard dynamic weather system from the end of the Toronto PvE mission during the Christmas season on maps like Kings Row and New Queens to make them feel more festive, and it can be disabled for comp. And I'm glad you mentioned the disabled for comp. I do like the minor weather effects. They actually teased that a lot in the Overwatch 2 trailers 3-4 years ago or whatever, and I was kind of excited for that. The only thing they've done so far is do different dynamic lighting. You get like obviously nighttime Elios, evening Elios, or daytime to kind of make the maps feel a bit more alive and dynamic, which has actually been a subtle, good psychological change. I don't even know if you guys realize that or even noticed it, or it's like, oh yeah, you're right. They have been doing that. They've been doing that all the time. Oasis is nighttime or evening or daytime half the time, and it looks pretty good. Now, if you add some particle effects, I want a setting in the options to disable it completely. One of the reasons they may not be actively doing it is because it's probably crashing Nintendo Switch 1s or some old consoles right now, and it may not be super optimized, but I do think adding them festively and having it default off so it doesn't crash any systems, but giving it an option to turn on in the options, and then certain maps would apply for, like Kings Row or whatever during the Christmas season, would be cool, and I would be down to mess around with that in quick play and Mystery Heroes and custom. So yeah, I like the suggestion, but it needs to have some ifs, buts, and caveats. Suggestion: make a setting for Freya's scope shot to be fired by releasing the button. As it works right now, you right click or scope in and then left click for the shot to come out. I'm suggesting a testing setting where you can right click and then release it for the shot to fire and then cancel the scope as if you'd left click instead. That could be a quality of life setting. They've done a lot of times over the years. They've like swept through the heroes and added a bunch of QOL changes for a bunch of heroes. If you go to their custom options right now, a lot of older heroes have completely new settings and UI changes that are custom to them, which is why I got to do another settings video eventually. But it is not a bad suggestion. I don't think it really changes anything for Freya players. It doesn't make it feel like it's stronger or weaker. It does feel like it, at the end of the day, it would be personal preference. It's kind of like Ana's like let go of the right click or the scope in makes you unscope versus the toggle scope option, which means you have to click twice, etc., etc. Yeah, this one's fine. It's just an option. Cool for me. Suggestion: let us customize the menu screen how we see fit and make it where we can mute the music, add music to the menu with all the collabs they've made specific to Overwatch, either through that or the cinematic, to make it where we can customize the menu with our favorite hero when we load up the game, maybe. Well, I know some other games do that. Like I think a lot of Valve games allow you to tweak some of the config files, but Overwatch doesn't because money. Their main menu screen acts as a promotional ad space for new skins, new bundles, new collabs, and all that stuff. So there's no way they're gonna let you customize it yourself. You don't get that option. You can customize your personal player profile banners and your, profile icons and stuff like that, but the main menu is their entity and their marketing space, so they're never gonna let you do that, unfortunately. I do agree though, in the sense that like it's a cool suggestion. I wish I could go back to the old Kiriko launch music when Overwatch came out in 2022, Overwatch 2 in 2022 October, that J-Rap song right at the beginning. I was a big fan of that one. Anyways, instead of healing received, we need time on objective. I swear objective time used to be one of the default ones in Overwatch 1 for your personal stats. Having, again, this has been suggested a lot for the scoreboard, but just a scoreboard option where you can toggle and change what you want displayed, and time on objective would be really cool. And honestly, more post-game stats to really see the rest of the stuff, like your time on objective. just for the stat nerds. It may not serve like the wider population, but having it for the smaller population to look at advanced stuff is always great. I do it all the time in League of Legends. I used to do it all the time in other games too. And currently I do it in Deadlock, where I see where my souls were collected, how much money, how much souls each person had at X time on the map. So things like that would be really cool that Overwatch could add. Illari, okay, this is kind of a hot take. Illari needs serious changes and perhaps even a rework because she just does damage and healing. She is just like Moira and needs more utility or something to make her more distinct. So this is actually the opposite opinion of what made Illari kind of cool. On release, people actually were like, you know what? Less is more sometimes. They just had Lifeweaver, which had so many buttons and passives, and then they just made a more simple hero. And honestly, I think Illari is grown on me a lot more in the recent seasons. I don't think you need every single hero to have ability kit bloat, is what I would call it, where everything needs to have utility, everything needs to have this and that. I think having just a simple shoot and heal like Illari is, in a similar case like you mentioned in comparison to Moira, like simple heroes are totally fine for the game. You have a wide cast of heroes, some more simple than others, and I think it will attract a wider audience where you have very viable and playable heroes with different levels of accessibility and difficulty in their hero kits. I think Illari is already very distinct. There's nothing like a heal pylon right now, and she's a hit scan specific, slow, methodical shots with the hit scan, a healing beam. Like, she is very distinct. Like, there's no other hero that has a very similar kit to hers at all in the support category. So yeah. Suggestion, I would love for them to add non-flashy minor camos with challenges from like old Call of Duty. So let me put my red tiger on my weapon for getting 75 headshot kills or whatever number. Obviously have different challenges for heroes that cannot crit. This has been a pretty cool suggestion for their player progression. I know they simplified the levels and stuff like that, but I really did think that if you got like 1,000 kills on the hero, previously it would just like add to your hero level, but like they should have displayed the hero level first. And then second suggestion was if you did get like 10,000 kills or 5,000 headshots on a hero, you could slap something onto the weapon to demonstrate you did that and that accomplishment is under your hero. And I think that would give a lot of players something to work for and give them another reason to log on and play every day. So I've been a big fan of that, and I'm surprised they have not done that, because that is an easy retention strategy to make players log in. Because other than logging in, like, why do you guys log in and play? Because it's fun, or are you trying to hit a certain rank in competitive? Adding an accolade or something like that to show off a skin by doing like that sort of thing, getting a certain amount of headshots, is another reason for certain other players to log in and play. So I don't know, this is just a missed opportunity, Blizzard. I said this before, but for the UI UX suggestion, you want to fix the hide panel on the main menu to actually work and hide the daily challenges. So currently it will hide the panel, but unhide it after finishing a match, clicking on play, heroes, shop, battle pass, profile, social, the escape key, or any of the button on the main menu that isn't enter chat. It's unintuitive to have a hide panel button that doesn't actually work. Only unhide it if the store updates or the game updates before you relaunch the game. I didn't even know hide panel existed on the main menu, and to be honest, I never really clicked that, but that just sounds like a UI UX bug then. It's less about a suggestion and more about this probably isn't working as intended. So, you know, good suggestion. Hopefully the Blizzard devs see this and takes a look at it. The UI UX devs. Final suggestion, the endorsement system needs something. I just give my vote to anybody on the team who isn't max endorse level. It does nothing. Maybe bring back some depth like comms, gameplay, or options to show what you're being endorsed for, and give rewards for a number of endorsements per day. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, the entire endorsement system is just not even good, period. Like, who the hell are you? I don't even use it. I never even open the menu. I can't be asked. There's no reason for me to do it. Like, and it means nothing to me personally. So I've always felt like it's just like wasted UI slot. Even having the depth of comms gameplay, they had that in Overwatch 1, but like people would just click random colors, and I know the color wheel would like change depending on what you got voted more for. Maybe some players take it more seriously than others. I would say the vast majority of players do not give a shit. I think the only thing it needs to show is that if you're endorsement 1, it means you're probably muted. Let me know that you're muted. That's like the only useful information it conveys. Other than that, I don't care if you're endorsement 3, 4, or 5, because you'll be a lower endorsement level if you just have less games played. You just could be a newer account. Like, that's why it's never meant anything to me specifically. So I think the endorsement system, like, it exists right now, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just there. They could remove it tomorrow and I wouldn't care. So it could get revamped, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of like wasted time. Like, why we don't work on something else at Blizzard for Overwatch specifically. Anyways, that's it for Suggestions Box. Leave more in the comments. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.